Dr. Michael Eisa, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much. I'm reaching out to you from Nigeria, West Africa, and where you calling in from?
Well, I'm calling today from Monaco, Monte Carlo, which is in the southern part of France. So wow. You can say it's in the south of France, yeah.
Wow, I've never been to the south of France before, but I've been told beautiful things about south of France, and everybody says it's very beautiful over there.
It's very beautiful, and it's very hot now.
Wow, I was about to ask how was the weather, and how are you coping with the COVID situation?
Really, the COVID, I think everybody almost got used to being masked every day. And in each of our daily activity, I even see people masked when they drive in their cars. So they just get so used to it. I think everybody now, when they leave, they get their mobile phone and their mask, and they don't leave without it.
Wow. You know, I was telling a friend last week and said, 6 months ago, our lives was totally different from what we have at the moment. And just in 6 months, our life had turned around. What used to be normal no longer seems to be normal.
Yes. I think if you probably hear some of my previous interview, I think Corona definitely was a big wake-up call for many countries, for the whole world. However, I still believe that Corona will eventually do more good to the world than bad. And we can discuss this later. I think I see a lot of different thinking, different ideas, different emphasis. People care more. So, you know, it's not all bad. There is definitely, unfortunately, we have lost some people, but there is still also some positive things. And I think Corona really is, as I said, it's a wake-up call for the world to really think and reevaluate what we're doing on a daily basis, and maybe stop some of those wars that's going on in some of the world that is totally unnecessary.
Thank you very much, Dr. Michael Eisa. So you had mentioned reevaluating what you were saying at the moment, and I'll start my questioning today by saying that you're one of the successful Africans that we know. Thank God you're from Egypt. I believe so, sir?
Yes, I am.
Wow. So I'm proud to call you my African brother.
Yes, I am your African brother. That's for sure.
Yes, sir. You're one of the few successful Africans that we are connected with. And when we talk about what made the difference for you, I would like to know your story. We'd like to know, how did you come about? What inspired you to not just only be an African giant, but to be an international giant? Now you are one of the African products that we have in Europe to say, you know what, Africans can do good, can do great. Look at our brother Michael Eisa in France.
Yes.
So I would like to start my question today and say, what inspired your greatness?
Yes, I think it's all, in my opinion, about the attitude and the perseverance. You know, it's this quality. If you are born with this quality, if you learn this quality, I think it's very important. I was born 1958 in a city called Suez, if you know the Suez Canal in Egypt. And you know, Egypt at the time, it was a peaceful time. Then we went into a war with Israel, and things develop in terms of the economy, etc., etc. So things start getting more difficult. And as I approach the age of 20, actually, as I approach the age of 18, I realized that it's time for me to find other way of living and reach outside of Egypt. It was very difficult, I tell you, because I do not come from a rich family. My father was a simple employee in Shell Oil in Suez. You know, I wanted to basically to work in the summertime to save money to make for my airline ticket. And I started to apply for visa in other European country. I got refusal from England. I didn't give up. Then everybody was talking about America, and I went to the American embassy. They gave me 2 weeks visa as a student visa, and I managed to leave. I saved $500 and saved the money from my summer work to actually buy the ticket. It was Cairo, Rome, JFK, New York.
Wow.
I didn't speak in English. I only had 2 weeks student visa. I only had $500. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything. I just went ahead. And going back to what I was saying to you, it's all about the attitude, the motivation. You have to believe in yourself. And sometimes, you know, you have to go into a dark alley where you don't know where you're going. You don't see anything, but you have to advance. So that was always my attitude. And I left and I went there. When I landed in Rome, there was a strike. And they told me that I have to stay in Rome for overnight. I said I couldn't because I only had $500. And I got on a flight from Rome to JFK. My luggage did not go with my flight because I took a different flight. Anyway, to make a long story short, I arrived in New York. I lost my luggage. There was no luggage. So I only had the clothes I had and the $500. Yeah. And there was a young lady sitting with me on the plane, and she was basically her uncle was coming to basically pick her up. She offered me to give me a ride to New York City, and she asked me where I'm going. I said I don't know where I'm going. I'm just gonna go. And her uncle took me from JFK, 1978, August 3rd, to be exact. And he drove me. I keep asking him, bus, I want to go to the bus station. He took me to Port Authority. I don't know if you know New York. Port Authority is in the end of 47th Street. At the time, in 1978, 47th Street, it was the worst neighborhood in New York. It was they call it the Red District of New York. So all the bad things was happening in this street. And instead of him taking me to the bus station, he basically dropped me off at the beginning of this street. It's a very long street. And I got out and I see the different life of New York. And as you can see, you know, that it was a real shock for me. And that's how the whole story started. I started to learn English. I started going to school. I work many different jobs, anything you can imagine. Anybody needs me to help them. Yeah, maybe I cut their loans. I paint their house. I went to a restaurant to wash dishes. I did everything to survive. But there was one thing in my mind that I wanted my father to be proud, and I wanted to prove that it's possible. And the most important thing is that when you are in this kind of situation, you have two choices. Either you go the bad way or the good way. And I decided always to stay on the right side of the street. You know, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I just stay, and I believed in myself that one day if you continue to do good after good after good, something will happen and somebody will give you a chance. And life went on. And actually, at the time, after 2 weeks, obviously my visa expired. So I went to the office to apply for another visa. And the lady told me the only visa you can apply for is a student visa if you go register in a college. I registered in a college, I applied for a student visa, and they have never replied to my application. So I was walking around with this piece of paper, basically waiting for them to respond. They have never responded. 5 years later, I'm still there.
5 years.
5 years until I met my ex-wife American, and basically she heard my story and she said, I said, it's time for me to go back to Egypt because I cannot continue like this. She said, no, I will marry you. And I got married and I got the citizenship, and I started to build my career again from scratch, step by step. And, you know, and obviously I went back to the university. I had to redo all my study that I did in Egypt in America because it was not the equivalent. So I got the equivalent in America. And, you know, my ex-wife basically pushed me to go into the technology and the computer. And that's how I started. I started as a computer operator in a very small company. You remember this old mainframe where you basically load those big tapes?
Yes.
So I was working from 10 o'clock at night until 10 o'clock in the morning as an IT operator. That was my first job. After I worked many odd jobs, and I continued to build from there. It's a very long story, but what I wanted to tell you is for you and for all our African brother, specifically for the young brother, is that believe in yourself. Don't be afraid. The sun rise for everybody. The sun rise for everybody.
Everybody. Thank you.
You need to believe in yourself, and you have to have the right attitude and the right mind and the perseverance, and never, ever give up. Ever, never, ever give up, and never take no for answer. So that was always my attitude, and that's how I survived, and I started building from there, believing that things will eventually get better.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michael. We have to go on a commercial break right now, and we'll go back again with the amazing Dr. Michael Eisa. Michael, welcome back again. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. So initially, you had spoken about the values that you have as a young African. While you got to the United States, you did not do drugs. You did not unnecessarily go for parties and all that. But then I wanted to ask the first question before we go back to your values as an African, because one of the things I know Africans are known for are our values, our value system. We have a very strong value system and an amazing heritage. Yeah. And I think that's something we should share with the whole world. So, but I want to go back before we come back to that to say, you know, Dr. Michael, while you were in Africa, when you dreamt of moving to the United States, when you dreamt of going to change the world, when you dreamt of having a better life, when you dreamt of, you know, doing something that will make your parents and your father proud, what were your motivators? What were the key factors that motivated you? Were there incidences? Were there times, things that had happened, and made you say, you know what, I'm leaving this country to look for a better life and I'm going to do great and I'm going to do amazingly. You have a story around that.
Yeah, I think the motivation, honestly, if you remember the war that Egypt went in 1967, and it was basically, the war started actually in my village in Suez. So I was a young child, and the scar of this war, what I seen in terms of the destruction, has impacted me so much, as a young child. So as the war carry on for 3, 4, 5 years, the economy of the Egyptian economy was almost at the point of collapse. And at the same time, I wanted to do something to also help my family. And at the same time, my father was always challenging me, that I always tell him that I wanted to be a captain in the sea. And yeah, that was my dream. I wanted to be a captain in the sea, to basically drive one of those big boats and stay in the sea for 9 months and stay on earth for 3 months.
Wow.
And the response to my father is basically, he said, you're thinking too high, and you came from a small, poor family, and we don't have the financial capability. So I'd say, Dad, but I know I can do it. So he was always challenging me. So actually, the fact that he challenged me so much, he actually gave me ammunition to go forward. And when I went to America, he basically did not want to say goodbye to me. He was so, hurt that I'm leaving. He wanted me to stay there with him and my mother and my brother and sister. And, but I decided that I must prove him that I could do it. And it was a Cold War, call it a Cold War, between me and my father. He's saying, you're gonna come back here, and you're gonna lose everything. You're gonna waste your time. And I said, no, Dad, I am just as good as any other child from any other family, rich or poor, black or white. And I moved on. And actually, to be honest with you, my father has helped me without him knowing he has helped me, because I am Aries. You know what the characteristic of Aries?
Yes,
Aries,
I do.
If you basically challenge me and said, Michael, you cannot do this, I will do it just to prove you wrong. So my father, actually, without knowing, he has challenged me. And I went to New York, and I worked in a restaurant. I worked at odd jobs. I was talking to my mother, and he refused to talk to me. And I tell you, there are some sadness in the story, but there's also lots of positive. He didn't talk to me for 15 years.
Dr. Mac, can I break you here? So you were in America, and your dad, that is your epitome of greatness, is not talking to you, and is very sad about the fact that you're in America.
Yes, yeah, it was not talk.
Why didn't you give up?
I didn't give up because I am a very proud African Muslim man, and I am just born with this perseverance, determination. I don't like for anybody to tell me, you cannot do this, you are not good enough, you're not smart enough. And when you challenge me at this level, then the tiger, the lion will come out.
I get it.
This is exactly what I was telling you. My father has actually bought the best tiger, the best lion that you can ever imagine. And I see in many friend Egyptian who have gone to New York to find a new life. And after 2-3 years, they have given up. They said, we're going to go back home because this is too hard. It's too hard. It's too difficult. We don't know the language. We don't know the system. We don't have money. We don't have paper. We don't have, you can always look, you know, you can always look, is the glass half empty or half full? You know,
two ways to look at it.
There is two ways to look at it. So, you know, there are a lot of people always look at the negative, but there's a lot of people always look at the positive. You know, look, you and I are now talking to each other. You know, we are healthy. We have arms, we have legs, we have eyes. You
Absolutely.
know, people think there are other people who don't have this. So, you know, I always look what we have versus what we couldn't have. But some people always look at the negative. And once you look at the negatives, you know what happened after that? You go only down. You know, my attitude is as follow. You know, if I can summarize my life, reach for the moon. Even if you fall short, you will land among the stars.
Wow.
So, you know, I always go for the moon. If I can't reach the moon, I will reach the stars. You know, so try your best and set the bar very high. I always tell this to young people. You need to set the bar very high. Not in that I want to just graduate. No, I want to graduate with the best school, with the best grades. Because when you set the bar so high, then you arrive just enough, close enough. And many people, in my opinion, also, they give up at the last minute. You know, they're just about to achieve success, but because it's so hard for so long, at the last few days, the few seconds, they give up. And that's actually what I was talking about, the perseverance. And you know, after all these years, the things that I want to do now is basically give this experience to my African brother, first and for all, you know, before I can share it with the European or the American, because, you know, this is my land. I came from Africa and I will die in Africa, you know?
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Michael. Thank you so much for those words of inspiration. So I would like to ask another question, sir. So you spoke about when you go to America, the land of freedom, where you can get everything absolutely for free. And growing up in Africa, one of the things that we think about is, once I get to America, I can do anything I want to do.
Well, yeah.
And I'm sure you felt that way, say, when you got to America at first. But what were the values that kept you intact? Like you had said to me that you did not smoke, you did not overdrink, you did not do any bad thing. Lots of Africans go out of Africa to other countries, and then they get mixed up. Yeah. What were the values that kept you true as a true brother?
I think honestly, it's the value was all about what my father and mother have embedded in me when I was very young. And that's why I say that, you know, the way we raise our children doesn't matter if you are poor or rich. Believe me, it doesn't matter. It's the value that we put in them. It's the principles. My father have always taught me to be proud, you know, and to be clean, and to be respectful, and to be honest. You know, he has, I would say he's my idol. God bless him. He's in heaven now. But he has always embedded these things in me, you know, that never, he always has a saying, if you put your hand in the trash can, it will get dirty. So never put your hand in the trash can, you know? So, and this is how I was raised up. You know, right now I live in Monaco, Monte Carlo. I don't know if you know, it's a very rich part of Europe. Some of the richest people in the world here. But believe me, I know many rich family who do not put the right value with their kids, and their kids end up drug addict, they end up being thief, they end up doing all the bad things you can ever imagine. So I want to go back again. It's all about the education, the emphasis that the mother and the father, especially the mother, by the way, especially the mother and the father, they embed in their kids. And you know, if you follow those principles, and if you educate the kids in the right way, I promise you we will have less havoc in the world. When you look at all the people who doing the crimes, the terrorists, and all the bad things that happen in the world today, you have to ask yourself, where are their mother and father?
Mm.
They sleep somewhere at night, right?
Yes,
Who
sir.
is covering them? And this is, you know, but today we starting to grow up in a society where we call, okay, it's okay, they do it like that, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. I think we need to go back to the old-fashioned way that you and I were raised, because honestly, this is what worked. Today, I'm sorry to tell you that we have spoiled our kids so much. We want to give them this. He wants an iPhone, etc. But before you give him iPhone, give him the value. Give her the value. Teach him how to be proud African. So wherever they go, you know, it's just the program will work. But if you don't have the value, if you don't have those principles in life, you know, no matter where you are, what you do, you will not be successful.
So, Dr. Michael, let's be the younger generation, people that are going to watch this podcast and this video, want an example. Can you remember an example of a time while you were in America and you could have done something bad? You had all the opportunity to do it, but you held back. Can you tell us a story?
Yeah. I started in New York City. As I mentioned to you, my first interaction with New York City was 47th Street. That's where all the drugs, the gangs, the prostitution you can ever imagine. I could very easily become one of the gangs. You know?
And you look like one, you know, you got a body.
You know, but you know, there was always the little voice of my father back there, you know, stay on the right side of the street, you know. That's one example. The other example is that as I progress in my career, I finish university and I start working for many companies, you know, and I was involved in many large contracts. It was very easy for me to receive bribes under the table, you know. It was very, but I always refused. Believe me, there are some meetings where I walked in there, and as I'm sitting down, the other gentleman is pushing an envelope, big envelope with a big stack of cash. And you know what I do? I just push it back and I said, thank you, I don't want it. I prefer to be hungry, to be poor, than actually touch this money. And you know why? Because also, with all respect to everybody's religion, this is also how I was taught as a Muslim. You know, what is haram, what is halal. And, you know, all these things, there are many examples. I know young people will come and we said, you know, it's easy for you to say, but, you know, we need this, we need that, we need this. Believe me, if people respect you, if people believe in you, if you are honest, if you are professional in your attitude, you're not trying to take away something that doesn't belong to you. You just be fair. Life will go on and you will eventually succeed. You know, I was talking to some of the richest people in the world and I said, what is the difference between making a deal or business with somebody or hiring somebody or not hiring somebody? And you know their answer, it was not the experience, it was not the talent. Their answer was, do we trust them? Could we trust them? You know, because you can take a young talent and you have the trust in them, and then you can teach them, you know. But if you take somebody with a lot of experience and you can't even turn your back, because the minute you turn your back, he or she will just destroy your company.
I get it.
This is the thing, the trust and the motivation. I remember I interview many people in my career.
Wow.
And I tell you, my style in the interview is always what I call guerrilla interview. Guerrilla interview. So you come to me and you apply for the job, right? I am the director. And the first thing I will ask you, what experience do you have? You will tell me. The second thing I will do is I will try to basically break your motivation, because I want to see if you really believe in yourself. So I would say, I'm sorry, but I don't believe, I looked at your CV, I don't believe you have enough experience. At this point, what I want to hear from you is, there are two things could happen. Either you will cave in and you will basically, because you don't believe in yourself, you'll say, okay, you know, I'm sorry, and you will just leave the interview. Or what I want is, I want you fight back with me in a polite way. I want you to say,
the fighting spirit.
Exactly. I'm sorry, Mr. Michael Eisa. I believe I have the experience, with all respect to your opinion, and I believe I will be successful. This is exactly what I want to hear. But, you know, this is the difference, because I want to see what's in his or her stomach. You see what I mean? Do they have fire in their stomach, or they just going to cave in? Because guess what? When I send them outside to the customer will eat them alive.
Exactly.
When the customer hang up the phone on them, when they close the door in their face, are they going to give up? No. I want a sales director who will never take no for answer, he or she, you know, and believe in themselves. And as I mentioned to you again, I don't like people who give up, you know. So I will continue in the interview. I will continue, with all respect, to put them down. And I want them to continue saying, no, I am good enough. I'm
this job.
Yeah. And this is basically what I believe a lot of young people today, they fall trap in this. They go to a lot of interview and they said, they didn't take me. but you have to ask yourself, why they didn't take you? Maybe they didn't trust you. Maybe they didn't see the fire in you. You know, in some cases, I have some people who apply for a job with PhD degree. I promise you, PhD. But the gentleman was sitting there. He was so comfortable and he was so arrogant. And, you know, it's like, I have PhD. Of course, you cannot refuse my application. And at the same day, I interview another. This is a true story. I was working as a director for Microsoft. I interview another young lady, African lady. And she was like a fireball. I'm telling you. If you light a match next to her,
she will catch it.
Yeah, it will light on fire. She was like a fireball. She was motivated. She never took I tried to break her motivation. She always came back in a very polite way. I'm sorry, Mr. Michael Eisa. I am going to be successful. I am good enough. I believe in myself. And that's exactly what I want to hear. I went out and I went to the managing director and I said, I'm going to hire this lady. And, you know, I had almost half of the management team were against me because I didn't take the PhD guy. Guess what? this lady, and this is a true story, she's still working for Microsoft as we speak today, without mentioning her name. And she's very successful. You know, that's just to prove to you is that don't give up. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect me to believe in you? Yeah. So this is the first principle that I tell young people. And don't look, the grass is not greener on the other side. Don't always compare yourself with somebody else. I always tell this to people. You know, they said, he has an iPhone. I don't care what he has. You know, maybe you have a broken phone, but you are very proud African with a lot of good principles. And don't compare yourself with other people. What I mean by this is that, do you really believe I can do that because nobody else done it? Well, guess what? There's always first time. Try, go and do it. You might be pleasantly surprised, you know, because the DNA, your DNA, the goodness about God is that he has made each one of us different. You know, the fingerprint, your fingerprint versus my fingerprint are completely different.
Absolutely.
Completely unique. Can you imagine? Each one of us. So you are unique. You are special. Don't compare yourself with somebody else, you know? And whether you are black, white, Muslim, or Christian, it doesn't matter. You know, just carry on and never give up. And you know what? What is success? What is success? Success is a multiple trial of many failure. This is really what success. But so many people, they try something and they fail and they say, I'm not successful. No, you try again and again and again. As long as you are living and breathing, I want you to keep moving on. End of the story.
Dr. Michael, thank you so much. This is just so much, too much knowledge. Because you had said one of the key things that you said that struck me the most was saying, you know what, you might just be pleasantly surprised. Just
Yes.
give it, go.
Give it your best shot. Give it your best shot.
Pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely.
You know? And you said success is multiple trials of many failures.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
We're going to come back to this. But right now, we need to take another commercial break so that we can come back for more from Dr. Michael Eisa. We love you, sir. Thank you so much. We're coming back right away. Welcome back, and we are with Dr. Michael Eisa. It's been an amazing time of refreshing with you. Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming to join us today. So,
thank you.
We understand that you've been in business for several years, and some of us are just getting into businesses and all that, and trying to get into corporate businesses and local businesses and all that. Can you tell us the kind of businesses you've been involved in when it comes to your business career and business lifestyle?
Yes. I've been involved in the business now, really for the last 40 years plus.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and the story honestly started when I left Egypt and I went to America, and I started basically learning how to do English. You know, language is very important. You know, and I want to emphasize this to my young African brothers is, learn as many languages as you can. Even if you want to learn Chinese, is good. Japanese is good. Don't just sit on English, you know? And when you go to another country and you want to interact and do business with this other country, it takes so much if you know the language and their culture and their attitude and their way of living, you know? You know, I give you an example. I've been living in France here for the last 20 years plus, you know, And I believe me, I love this country. And people always talk about French people, you know, do they really like foreigner? Do they like foreigner? I tell you, you know, if you respect them, if you speak like them, if you live your life like them, then you will be able to incorporate into the culture. If I come to Nigeria, you know what the first thing I will do? I will wear a hat like you. I promise you, because I want to incorporate myself with you. I want to be like a real African brother. So do what the other culture. Go back to the business. Is that my first project after I graduated from college? And there is a U.S. agency, government agency called the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, the tax department. And they basically took me as an intern in Washington, D.C. to basically work as a programmer, to do assembly programmer. And at the time, one of the first projects we're working on is the electronic filing system. And this is actually, by the way, is still a project that is valid for Africa today as we speak. Basically what they did is they said, we are cutting so many trees to have so many papers, you know, everything documents. So we want to have everything electronically. So we want people to file their tax return electronically, because we don't have a space to store all these tax returns.
Yes.
Because legally, they actually have to store it for 5 or 10 years. And they actually store it in the mountain in West Virginia. Many people don't know that. But you know, it gets very cumbersome. So we started working on an electronic filing system. And this is a very, very good project for anybody in Africa to basically avoid the papers and have everything electronically. You file your application electronically. You get your approval electronically. You know, so this is one of the projects that that basically I started my career on, the electronic filing system. Another project I worked on here with a company here in Monaco. It's called Venturi, basically where the owner had a dream to basically have electric car. At the time, electric car was not as famous as today. And he wanted to build a sport electric car that goes 400 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
And believe me, we did it. We did it. And I have the video and the picture to prove it. Now, today, you see many electric cars on the road. Again, you know, have a dream. Dream big. Think big. Think very big. Because one day, your dream will become true. You know, if you talk to the people at the time that you want to have a sport car, 400 kilometers per hour, they will say you're crazy. It's not doable.
Absolutely.
You know, today in Africa, obviously everybody needs internet. I'm talking about some of the project, you know, so the Wi-Fi zone is very important. So today I see many restaurants, many bars, many stores, many shopping malls. They don't have their Wi-Fi open. You know, I would open the Wi-Fi for my customer. You come into my store, you connect automatically, no password. Don't complicate life, so people can be attracted. Now 5G is coming on the pictures. You know, there is a lot of application that we need to migrate from 3G and 4G to 5G. That's another very big opportunity for our African brothers. You look at, you know, in many areas of Africa, there's still the need for electricity and clean water. You know, lots of charity that do that. There's a company called Million Light. You can look it up on the internet. And the founder of this company is a lady that basically creates a solar power lamps to basically send them in all the small villages of Africa so kids can read and go to school. So, you know, many projects, many opportunities. Today, there's a lot of possibility for Africa to basically import and export the real goods from Africa to the rest of the world. Today, this is happening, but it's not happening to the degree that is really should be. You know, there are many things in Africa that are locked there because, you know, shipping regulation, import and export regulation. That's a great opportunities, you know. You have in Africa, you know, many resources like metal, zincs, and you know, there's still a lot of mining opportunities in Africa, you know. But the thing that makes me sad is that we have allowed to the foreign national to basically go into the African land and cultivate all these resources and send it back to China and Asia. And this is what Africa needs to wake up. They really need to wake up, you know? Again, it's going back to the point I was saying earlier, is that if they can do it, we can do it. Now, you're going to come to me and say, yes, but we don't have investment. We don't have the right education. I understand. But let's discuss this. Let's fix it, you know? But let's make sure also that we don't sell our soul, our African soul, to the foreign investors, you know? You want to come invest in Africa? You're welcome. But, you know, it's our land. We will manage it. We will say what goes on, how and when, etc.
Absolutely.
So many projects, you know. Look, Africa is surrounded by sea, but Africa also is suffering from lack of water. Why can't we take some of this water from the sea and basically make it drinking water, take the salt out, and basically make sure if you have water, you're going to have tree. If you have tree, you have food, you have farm. Many things. It's all about, you know, the belief, the attitude, and the thinking. You have the sun, you have the sea, you have some of the best safari in the world, you know, the best in the world. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. So how can we take advantage of this? You know, when I talk to a lot of, I'm talking about tourism, have more tourism to Africa. Today, I don't see enough tourism going to Africa. There are some people that go, but not enough. You know why? You know why? Because they're afraid. They're afraid. When you talk to people, you said, you know, come on, let me take you to Nigeria, to Congo, to Cote d'Ivoire, to South Africa. The first thing on their mind is, am I going to be safe? We need to break this cycle. We need to break this cycle. And we need to pull together. And there is enough food, enough resources for everybody. So we need to provide safety for those tourists. So tourism comes back to Africa. I know you're going to tell me Corona and the limitation of travel. I understand. But Corona is not going to stay forever. Corona is going to be this year, next year's maximum. I promise you, eventually it's going to go away. Because I really believe that Corona is a message from God. It's really a message from God. And the people who will not learn this lesson, you know, that they will really suffer. So please go ahead.
Dr. Michael, so talking about coronavirus, for example, how can Africans and young Africans benefit what do you think we can do, benefit from the situation of coronavirus? Because we know that even though the world is shut down, there is millions of dollars and pounds moving around every day. So you're going to talk, so for business owners, what do you advise in this time of coronavirus, please?
My advice is that for every business owner to basically rethink their strategies, because as you understand, for me and for all of business owner, whatever we sold yesterday might not sell today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you need to accept that. You know, if you're selling tomato yesterday, maybe today you're not going to be able to sell tomato. No, so you need to accept that. So if I was making so much money selling tomato yesterday, and today I cannot do it, so what is the answer? I have to find out what is selling, right? So
absolutely.
I have to find out other product. But you know what I see from some business owner, you know, that have boutique or shop, you know, they continue hitting their head against the wall, you know, and basically thinking that everything is going to be okay. This is just a cushion. This is just a bad dream. No, so you know, you need to change with the time, with the consumption attitude of the new consumer. And this is my best advice, is that if what you were selling yesterday does not sell today, then either you shut your business down and you go on a break and wait for Corona to disappear, or you go and try to sell something else. You know, that's basically the other. And this is all about being flexible. Today, what is the most important thing in your opinion that people realize after Corona? It's very simple. They realize that nothing else matters except health, right? So people today, they are willing to pay whatever it takes for their health, okay? So maybe they don't eat right. Maybe they don't have the right diet. Maybe they don't do the right exercise. So all of this is a good new business opportunity for the consumer, you know? But after Corona, what I see a lot of people seeing is, they said, we're going to start selling masks. Okay, you sell masks, but you know, I want to go deeper. What is the fundamental? Why there are so many people dying in America, do you think? Because they realize that they're not healthy. They are very obese, you know, they are not taking care. They have cholesterol, they have diabetes, they have all this. Why? Because they don't eat right. So again, thinking about all this, so that we have to ask ourselves as a business owner. I tell you, for me as a business owner, you know what I'm thinking now? I want to go and cultivate all the health, the small farms, and bring their product, whether it's honey or oil or herb or fruits, and basically distribute it to the rest of the countries. Because I tell you, the diet and the way of living is very important after Corona. So this is one advice. And the other advice I give to the business owner is that I see a lot of business owner, they take in loans, credit, to basically make their existing business survive. But again, going back to my point, if you're selling something that doesn't sell today, taking credit or not, you're still going deeper in the hole. So maybe it's, if you really don't want to change your attitude and thinking and do something else different, then I would say take a pause, take a break until this Corona passes, or it change. If you're selling something yesterday, start selling something else. In the end of the day, my dear brother, is that we all sell something. If you think about it, we all sell something, whether you sell a product or a services. So if I am selling this today, tomorrow I'm going to sell this. That's it. It's as simple as that. But it will take a lot of thinking.
Dr. Michael, we know that Africa is the future of the world. We are the sustenance for the world. What advice do you have for the young African boy or young African lady that wants to build from Africa for the rest of the world? What will be your advice?
My advice is that I tell you, if I have to redo my story all over again, I would say, don't abandon your land. Don't abandon your land. And try to cultivate Africa on what you have today. You know, you need to look really deep of how can you make successful living and successful life in Africa. This would be my advice. Even though it's very hard sometimes to stay in a very poor African country and suffer the consequences that you and I know about. But my advice is that it's all about in and out, meaning I believe that Africa could be very, very successful, and the young talent could be very successful by doing import and export. Import and export idea, import and export product, import and export services. And when I say import and export, I mean bring it back to Africa and take it from Africa back to the world. You're going to tell me it's difficult. You're going to tell me the law will prohibit. You're going to tell me many obstacles. Again, I go back to my theme. Is the glass half empty or half full? Okay? You know, even if you want import and export fruit from Africa back to Europe, do you know how good is your fruit is? Do you realize as a Nigerian? Do you realize how sweet your African fruit is? We don't have this here, you know? So why not think of doing a major vegetable and fruit import and export between Africa and Europe and France? Of course, we have to do it in a legal way, clean way, and we have to meet all the requirements. But again, it's going back to my point is that sometimes you have the answer right in your hand, but you don't see it clearly, okay? So to summarize on this point is that I will tell all my young African colleagues, import and export. This will be the key success. Look at Amazon today. Amazon stock is on fire. You know why? Because everybody's going online. Everybody's going online. So why can't we make Amazon Africa? You know? But we have to make sure that all the product is genuine, is a good quality, is a good price. And once you build the trust with the European community and the American community, believe me, things will move, you know? So many ideas like this. I know that all the answer you will not find in Africa, but look at telemedicine, which means is that you are a doctor, I'm a patient. So now somebody can do interview between the doctor and the patient via conference call. You know, how many people die today and suffer because they cannot afford to go to the doctor or the hospital, etc. Many ideas, and I am I would be very happy, even on a one-on-one basis, to talk to any young talent and guide them. Bring them to me, give them my contact details, and I would be delighted to talk to them, because this is the least that I can give back my land, Africa.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Michael Eisa. We are so glad to have you today on the show.
Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. The whole world is not against you. It's you who can make the difference. The world doesn't care if you are successful or if you're not. Only you, when you take the law in your hand and you make your dream true. But my friend, my dear friend, African brother and sister, you're not going to do this if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't persevere, if you ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. As long as you are alive and breathing, keep on fighting, and believe in yourself, and believe in God, and believe that the sun shines for each one of us, for everyone.